You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, in case you have not been paying attention, Brian Daboll got fired. All right, by the New York Giants. He's out. The entire fiasco surrounding Jackson Dart and the concussion. We didn't know it was a concussion. I tried to follow him into the tent. What are y'all doing in there? I don't ever in life want to have to put Russell Wilson in. I did, as opposed to having Jameis Winston ready, which by the time you see this video, you will have already seen my Russell Wilson video because he has been demoted to third string. Now, one of the questions a lot of people are asking, bringing up, is, of course, Bill Belichick and the Giants. And I got to tell you, I'm kind of starting to think this might end up being a more serious kind of deal if Mike Kafka doesn't come away with this job. And I know a lot of people, and in fact, we're gonna take a look at some of what New York sports media has said on this Belichick thing, because there's a lot of them starting to talk about it. Boston media is starting to talk about it. I've said, in case you have not been paying attention as of late to North Carolina football, it's gotten a lot better. All right? There hadn't been any drama out of there in about 2 months. I've heard nothing about Jordan Hudson. And once they went on their bye week, North Carolina, and came back on the 17th, they have been much more competitive. One play cost them the Cal game. They failed on a 2-point conversion at the end of the game against what was number 10 Virginia at the time. They're 20 now. They lost on the last play of the game. They went for 2, didn't make it. The game was over. Much more competitive. They destroyed Syracuse. And don't get it twisted. They destroyed Stanford last week too. But Stanford got a token bullshit touchdown real late in the fourth. The defense has gotten really good at North Carolina. All right? And things are a lot more stable. They got a game against Wake Forest. He needs 2 wins now to become bowl eligible. It's been a little bit of a turnaround. People haven't been paying attention to it at North Carolina. And look, right now the Giants are 2-8. Ugh, not good, right? Not good. I got to tell you, Bill Belichick's the coach of this team. I think they win the Cowboys game. I think they win the Broncos game. That meltdown does not happen. They win the Bears game. And I think it's a toss-up as to whether or not they sneak away with the Saints. I could see them beating the Saints. I could see them beating the Chargers. Point is, Bill Belichick would bring stability and structure to a Giants organization that greatly and badly needs it. Young, hot-shot quarterback paired up with arguably the greatest head coach of all time, Cam Scatterboo, old school running back. There are some things to sort of talk yourself into with Belichick. Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter. What in the world would Bill Belichick do with those guys on defense? Work it out, bring Steve Belichick with him. Hopefully he can pass the job to Steve Belichick later, even though the NFL would have a shit fit. I doubt that would happen. Well, maybe it would. It just would depend. We'd have to see. I think it would be quota. I would assume. No, wait. They did it in New England, technically speaking, with Gerard Mayo when Belichick was still there. That somebody that's on the staff, I believe, can just assume the role, yada, yada, yada. I'd have to look into the specifics on that, but I think that's how that happened. Bill Belichick would take the Giants head coaching job, quote, in a second. He loves the Giants, and I mean loves the Giants. That was Gary Myers in New York talking about that a couple of days ago. Belichick has made comments about the job now. He was asked about it. Here's his response. Not surprising that this was sort of a we're on the Cincinnati moment, right? Quote, getting ready for Wake Forest, Belichick said. That's all I got this week. Belichick was asked whether he has been asked about NFL vacancies by players or recruits. Quote, I've been asked about it from time to time, but look, I've been down this road before, Belichick said. I'm focused on Wake Forest. That's it. That's my commitment to this team. And next week, it'll be our next opponent, and so forth. But I'm here to do the best I can for this team. Okay, well, guess what? That wasn't a no. That wasn't a no. And then this afternoon, two of the most legendary guys to ever do it that's covered the NFL, Jim Gray, Peter King. Peter King, very familiar with the Giants. Here we go.
On Mara, I would want to hear Bill Belichick say no. I would want to at least find out if Bill Belichick was possible. I do think that John Mara will at least find out if Bill Belichick has any interest.
My opinion is I would hire Bill Belichick in a heartbeat. He's the greatest coach in the history of the National Football League. There's a young quarterback there. There's a chance for success. I don't know Bill's feelings. My 2 cents worth, I would hire him immediately.
His career with the Giants was his springboard into getting the chance in Cleveland and then getting the chance in 2000 with the Patriots, which he obviously made the most of.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think you consider it. I really do. Now, other names to watch, Tomlin, some steam picking up there. John Harbaugh, if he decides it's time to move away from the Ravens, John Gruden would be another one, I would think. New York radio.
If you're going to take a shot on a retread, might as well go Bill Belichick. If that's really the direction you're going, just try something completely different. But Pete Carroll not working in Vegas has to scare Giants ownership.
Hiring Belichick, Pearl, and playing the nostalgia card would signify absolute rock bottom for the Giants. The fact that you would have to dig that far back into your past to try to find any identity, stability, what have you, just shows how lost of a franchise you are. And one of the things that the Maras get accused of is being so loyal. Bring Belichick? I mean, it's like you're trying to get the band back together.
I think that you could say, well, the roster fell apart in New England. North Carolina, forget this. Just ignore that completely. He's not that far removed from being the best coach in the NFL. You said 7 years is a long time. I mean, not that long.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't John Gruden out longer than that? Fred Carton. And you can always tell, I mean, he blatantly says something here that you can tell he's not paying attention to UNC right now.
This is Bill Belichick's job. He's been an advisor to the Giants for 20 years. He's Giants royalty because of his time with Bill Parcells. The Giants talk to him on a weekly basis. But he has done such a bad job both at North Carolina and in his personal life with that Fugazi girlfriend of his, Jennifer Hudson, whatever her name is, Hudson? Whatever, I don't know what her name is.
Jordan
Hudson,
Jennifer
whatever
does
her
the
name
talk
is,
show,
right?
yeah.
That you don't even hear Bill Belichick's name mentioned as a possibility.
No way.
If Bill Belichick had just stayed at ESPN, done a great job breaking down film, we wouldn't have cared about his personal life. If he had just stayed on the sideline and waited, he would be the next head coach of the New York Giants. And guess what? Giant fans would have had a parade for him. They would have blessed John Mara and Steve Tisch and said, you finally got it right. The prodigal son is coming home.
So I guess the issue is the girlfriend now. That's it. He said he's done a bad job at UNC. I just told you they've gotten much, much better. And that's how I can tell nobody's paying attention all of a sudden. The defense, a lot better at UNC. And with those defensive players in New York, holy hell. Boston radio. My boys Jones and Keefe. WEEI.
What do you think the likelihood is, now that we've had some time to think about it, that Bill is in play for that Giants job?
Well, it can't be 0% just because crazy things happen all the time. You told me he was going to go to North Carolina. I would have told you that was 0%, right? So I guess you have to sort of think a little bit differently. But the reason why I think it's still very, very, very low, and if you were asking me yes or no, I'm just going to say no, it would be they had a couple of opportunities to bring him in. You know, Brian Daboll had he had that one good year with the Giants, kind of like somehow, some way got into the playoffs. But then it's been pretty rough the last couple. Bill Belichick's been available the last couple, certainly going into this season, right? Let's say Bill has his year off. He's doing all the media jobs or whatever. Brian Daboll has a bad year. They're picking pretty high in the draft. And there you go. You could have made that move this year. So now 10 games in, and Bill has become even more of a sideshow with all the stuff in North Carolina, all the interviews, the stuff with the girlfriend.
Imagine like the New York press with that. Imagine like back page of the New York Post every single week with Bill and Jordan and all of that. Like,
okay. He just brought up, Adam Jones brought up New York Post. Already, guys. Already. This is the back page of the New York Post. Just say no. Giants shouldn't even think about Belichick reunion. That's wild. That's wild. I root for chaos and interesting. Belichick against the New York media. I want to see it. I want to see it. Belichick with Jackson Dart. I want to see that. Now, here is my one huge caveat. If Belichick cannot get a good, hot shot offensive coordinator of some kind to pair with Jackson Dart, then I would be out on Bill. And that goes for any other defensive head coach. Steve Spagnuolo or Bill Belichick. I'm hiring Belichick. I'm sorry. I'm not. That shit was a train wreck with the Rams. Oh, but he deserves another shot. Well, that's exactly what these motherfuckers was telling me about Raheem Morris. He's trash in Atlanta. Some guys are just great coordinators. I wouldn't touch Spagnuolo. There is no way. I mean, just keep doing it. And one of these, well, this is going to be a sideshow and a circus and a blah and a blah. Oh, that was on PFT. I think I was listening to that shit where they were talking about, you can't do this, blah, blah. Okay, hold on. Pat Shurmur. Ben McAdoo. What? Joe Judge. Brian Daboll. Or Bill Belichick. You tell me. The fuck? Stop it. You could do those assholes, but you couldn't do Bill? Seriously? Bill give you a good 3 to 4 years. Get the organization stable, pass it off. Maybe you don't pass it off to Steve Belichick, but you pass it off to somebody competent that's ready for the job. Maybe whoever the hot shot offensive coordinator is there, the next, maybe Bill can find the next Josh McDaniels. Yikes. Maybe the next Ben Johnson. Yeah, Josh McDaniels, a no-go as a head coach. But a Ben Johnson, you know what I'm talking about, the next big offensive guy. Shanahan, McVay, Johnson, these kind of guys. Tell me what you think. Mike McCarthy. Let's see. This is the names right now. McCarthy, Harbaugh, Tomlin, and then a bunch of Steve Spagnuolo, Kafka. I could see that maybe Kafka, but you done tried the coordinator thing. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.